Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabeena Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Firstly, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We come to another session of Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam, and we've already established that these people, because of wealth and their greed for wealth, they were led astray with their desires away from Allah's pathway, away from the Prophet's messages. And Allah Azza wa Jal sent Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam, and he was very eloquent in the way he spoke to them, making it very clear to them how he wanted them to stop their corruption. We also established in the session last time on this that when you take your money and use it in haram, Allah takes the barakah away, Allah takes the blessing away. And that is the first punishment Allah gives to a person because of the haram they have indulged in. And the second thing is, there's a hadith in Ahmad that says, "Inna al-abda la yuhramu min al-rizqi bi dhanbin yusibu." Because of a sin that they're committing, and if they stay in that sin again and again, the rizq and the other provisions Allah is supposed to give to them because of halal wealth and halal business, Allah starts to take that away from them. So that's another punishment that comes onto these people. And the third, of course, I explained last time, which is that there's people on the earth that will start to fall out with you if you start indulging in haram. You look in any drug business, you see, the sort of drug cartels out there. They're out with their guns trying to kill each other. And it's not once that they've done this, it's repetitive. In fact, those of them who are in selling drugs, after a few years, it becomes unbearable to live without having guns with you, weapons with you, or a gang of people with weapons always looking over their shoulders. Those of them that are in the alcohol business, I said last time that one leads to another, and Allah said in the Holy Quran that their own family members, their own people who are close to them, they will have hatred for one another. And time and again, if you look at the people who've gone into an alcoholic business, you'll find that there's no relationship between the husband and the wife, or the husband or the father and the children. No relationship. And it's a la'na, it's a curse within, as we know from the sources, it's a curse on these people. And we're talking specifically, here in this context, we're talking specifically about the Muslims, who do this, and I mentioned that last time. And we've got the next step that people take, which is when people get into haram business and everybody is doing it, people start thinking, well, you know what, it's okay, everyone's doing it. I can't live here without doing it. I can't get away without doing this. And that is where the company of evil spreads a company of evil. And that's what happened to the people of Shuaib alayhi salam. And that's what happens in business marketplaces, where people start to commit haram and they create an environment and they pull in people, customers who want to beat you in the game of evil that you've started. So when you're ripping somebody off, there's another guy looking at you and he's got greed as well, you've got greed as well. He wants to rip off his customers more than you. And it carries on until corruption prevails and it gets too much for the people to bear. Now, we came to this ayah, Surah Al-A'raf, ayah number 85. There's a number of things that Shuaib alayhi salam told them. One thing I established last time is that they have to be fair in the way they measure things, whether it's measuring with a cup, measuring with a jug or utensil, or measuring with a scale, and that I've completed. The next thing mentioned in the verse is وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Allah Azza wa Jal, He made His Prophet say, don't take things away from people by making a deficiency, causing a deficiency within it. Now, how do you take something from someone by causing a deficiency within that? How you do that, there's a tafsir that I'm going to refer to explain how you cause this deficiency, because there's a number of ways you can cause this to happen. Okay, there's a number of ways you can cause this to happen. One way is that when somebody has something good as a value, a valuable item, you make it seem to them that it's not that valuable. And you make them sell it to you for a price that is less than what the real market value is. And this is what these people used to do. There's a number of tafsirs that come under this one particular thing that they're saying. Now, we know from the tafsir that what these people would do is that they would go out into the, they would go out of the city of Madyan. They would get onto the routes into Madyan, wait for people to come by, and then they will have a chat with them and find out what kind of coins they've got. Now, today everything is paper notes and bronze and copper coins that you've got in your pockets and my pockets, which are worth nothing. Okay, they're worth jack. Even jack's worth more than your money, brother. I just want to tell you that, right? I don't know if you know, because if you actually take any note, and this is a form of deception as well. It's an international form of deception. Okay, we're living with it, and you've got to live with it. If you take any note out, and you look at it, it says that I promise to pay the bearer of this note the sum of £20, okay, or £10. What does that mean? That means that when they originally started to, where did this all come from? Well, about 300 years ago, 300 years ago. Before that there was a system, and after that there came a system. What was the system beforehand, even in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's time and the people beforehand, like Shuaib alayhi salam? Well, you actually carried around with you real gold or real silver in the coins that you had. And depending on the value of the coin, that much gold, real gold, was found in the metal of that coin. And people, they carried this in bags, bags of gold with them around. Small amounts, large amounts, whatever they needed to buy, and people had to store these in their homes. And of course, when houses were raided or they were robbed, when you took a man's coins, you actually took real gold. So then people had their own banking system where they would store it with the most trusted person in the city or the town, or a few trusted people in the town. They would keep it with them, and that's how people kept their money. And in the case of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his house was a bank in Mecca. You've got to realize that this was how much they trusted the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that his own house was a bank for the people of Mecca. And guess what? Even better than that is, they say all these horrible things about my Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Better than that is what? His own enemies used to keep their monies with him. Allahu Akbar. Say Allahu Akbar. Yeah, don't say it too loud, yeah. They're going to get scared, brother. Yeah. Don't say it too loud. Yeah. Just want to remind all the viewers out there that we say Allahu Akbar every time we pray, yeah. And we pray for spirituality. Yes. Don't get scared when you hear that. Allahu Akbar. So what happened is, Shuaib alayhi salam's, his people obviously trading with these real gold that's within these coins. That's the system that was there all the way up till about 200 to 300 years ago. Now, what then happened is some people started to create these banks, these buildings that were solid buildings. They said to you, you know what, if you store your money with me, your actual real gold coins, that you store them with me, or some people had silver coins with real silver in them. So they said, if you keep it with me, I will give you I'll give you a little check, as in a receipt for the deposit that you've given to me. The receipt for the deposit you've given me. So people thought, well, this is brilliant. We've got a bank there, a real bank, solid. No one can break into it easily, and we've got a trusted note from there to say that they've I've cashed in my gold. And people went in there and they started to put their monies in those banks. And then every time they say, for example, I'm in the marketplace, you're in the marketplace, I want to buy something off you. I say, okay, hang on a minute, let me take my little note, my guarantee, okay, my promise. I'll take this little note I've got all the way back to the bank, and I'm going to be back right here. I'll be back. I'm going to bring my gold coins back, and then I'm going to buy the item from you. And that's how it took place. Then people got a bit it was a long process. You were trying to sell someone something, he says, hang on a minute, it goes all the way to the bank, he's got to go there, he's got to put that note in, and the promise is there. I promise the bearer of this note to pay him the sum of £20. And when you gave that, the bank gave you the gold coins and then you traded. People thought, you know what, this is getting a bit too much. Yeah. So what they did is that the seller and the buyer, both of them had notes. So they thought, you know what, I'll give you a note. I'll give you this little promise I've got, this pound note, whatever I've got, this promise, I'll give it to you and give me the goods. You can give it to somebody else. He thought, fine. The buyer thought, the seller thought, fine. So the seller took these notes. And then sellers and buyers started to trade each other with these promises. And the banks thought, brilliant. banks thought, brilliant. We came, gave all our golds, all our silvers. This is my great granddad, and yours too. Right? Gave all of that to the banks. The banks took them in, and then the banks handed out all these checks, which were actually these pound notes that we've got. And a time went by, and people didn't even bother going back to the bank and saying, give my gold coins back. What did the bank do? The bank took all of these gold coins, they melted them down, and they made solid bricks of gold. You know what I'm saying, brothers? And then they stored them away, okay? And all we're doing right now is we're just really exchanging these notes to each other, which really mean jack. If tomorrow the economy collapses, if I have even this much stash of £50 notes, it means jack. Unless the economy is going to say that, whoever has this many notes will honor them, it means nothing. I don't know if you remember a recession that happened in 2008, and banks were saying that if a particular bank goes bust, you're not going to be secured any money except up to £30,000 or something. Or was it? Maybe it was 80 for some banks, maybe it was 30. I remember HSBC, I think, had a rule as well that if they were to go bust, it was up to £30,000, and beyond that you get nothing. And even those £30,000, you'd probably be like the people who had their accounts in Royal Bank of Scotland, who are saying, we're probably never going to see that again. Okay, so that's it. It's like, wipe it all off. Let's start with a clean sheet. Sorry guys, you lost that because your bank went bust. You haven't got anything. So what I want to say to you guys is that there's some food for thought here. There's some real food for thought here. There's been people who wanted to bring this whole gold system back in again. And they've tried a few times. But it's actually becoming a crime to do that now. It's becoming a crime to. In fact, if you were to go with your £20 note, I want to say you something, yeah? If you can do this, please, I'd love it, yeah? Just make sure some guy's behind you taking a whole video of this and he can stick it on YouTube, and we'll see how it all sort of comes out. You go to the bank tomorrow and give them, a £20 note and say, look, it says here, I promised the bearer of this to give this. And just say, look, can I have my gold back, please? You try it, brother. Yeah? There's no concept left whatsoever of this. It's like, that is your gold now, my friend. That is your gold, which is the pound notes in your pocket, which really isn't. It isn't. And for 200 to 300 years, people have stopped asking questions. Now we've gone to another phase. The banks are even getting more and more elated because of the fact that, forget having pound notes, it went to the credit cards and the debit cards. And from the debit cards, people don't even bother with debit cards and credit cards anymore. You're supposed to have put it inside and put your pin inside and all that. Well, first there was none of that. You had to properly sign. Then the signature went out. Then it was a pin. Then now it's contactless card. And then that's gone out. Now it's just like, it's digits. It's all like, on your phone or whatever it is. You just press something and you send some digits over. Digits and digits are just moving over. It's literally light. That's what it is. It's a program where it'll show you certain figures on certain light. And that's what it is. So if they wanted to zap that out, ouch, it will hurt all of us. And there'll be movements to try and bring that back, but they've been unsuccessful. Quite a number of people. Now you've got this thing in America. I don't know if you know. Some people are fed up with this, and they started to create these bitcoins. Bitcoins. You can look into that. Again, I'm not here to try and tell you guys to break the law or whatever. Okay. All I'm trying to say to you is that. You look into it and you look into it further and you see what people are doing outside there, because what the bitcoins does is that it actually it actually stays off the radar of all these banks and the trade that takes place. But anyway, that's another whole world that's out there. Now come back to Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam. What did these people used to do? These people went to those went to the outsiders who are coming into their city of Madyan, and these sort of people of Madyan, who are the people of Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam, they would stand there, they would ask them, they say, hey, listen, what coins have you got? Let me see them. Let me see them. And they showed them the coins. They said, these coins? You serious? You're not going to even get a bargain in this city for these coins? No. Hey, listen. Hey, come on. He's got this coins. He's got these coins. Look, he thinks they're genuine. And the person who's just come in, he thinks, what are they saying? And the whole of them will gang up and just say, they look at these coins. These coins are not worth what they're worth, man. They're not worth what they're worth. Listen, I'll do you a favor, yeah. I'll do you a favor. Before you go into that city of Madyan and you get robbed, yeah, I'll do you a favor. So what? If you just sell them to me right now, yeah, I'll take those coins off you. The whole lot. Tell me how much. So now they're probably worth, let's just say in our pounds terms, they're probably worth about £2,000. They'll say now they're not worth nothing more than 1,200 or 1,000, half the price. Or give it to me now, you get the cash, and you'll be able to at least buy something decent inside there. The guy doesn't know any better. He gives them away. These guys take them, give him half the price, and he's actually taken away with the gold worth of 2,000. Now this is in Shuaib alayhi salam's time. Is it happening today? Yes. This kind of, because what we can't look at is we can't look at the exact like for like robbery or trickery. We've got to look for something similar. Is this type of thing happening in today's world? Yes or no, guys? Tell me. Yes. In what form? Can anyone put their hands up and tell me? Sophistication, yeah? What kind of sophistication? Have you got an example? Has anyone got an example? Put your hand up. Go on, brother.
The other day I took my old iPod to one of the phone shops, and they said, yeah, it's about £15, and then the guy put it off the next day for like £50.
Whoa, yes, yeah. The guy took his iPod, I'm going to say for the mic's sake, his sisters can hear you. He took his iPod to the phone shop. The guy said it's £15 only, but and he sold it, as in this brother sold it to him. The buyer took it, and then the buyer put it next day, and he sold it for £50. The guy knew exactly what he was doing. And that is, look, the fact that you tell the person that it's only worth £15, and then you know in your head that, you know what, I can make up to £50 from this. I know I can do it, yeah? That itself is exactly what Shuaib alayhi salam was trying to stop. Another example, anybody? Another example?
Countries upon countries, contractual agreement.
Thank you. Countries upon countries. Now this is going on a massive scale. This is on a small, the iPod's on a small scale. Your few little items on a small scale. And I'll tell you another trick just before, I don't want to forget this other one, yeah. You women who are listening to this, or your wives, yeah, and they go to the gold shop and they get the gold sort of weighed and so on. You better be careful. When they weigh your gold, you be careful. You look at exactly where your gold is going, brother. Because it doesn't take long for them to take it behind the door and they snap off one little, one link of a whole chain. There's a massive chain, yeah? If they take clip, take 2, 3, 4 pieces out, join it again quickly, yeah? Come back from behind the store and just, it weighs this much and give it back. And it's worth this much and give it back. Who's going to know the difference of a few grams? A few grams that have gone missing. But there's shopkeepers who do that. There's another one, which is you've given your gold in to the shop and you tell them, can you reshape this? I want to reshape this into a different design. And they take it, and when you get it back, it doesn't weigh the same. They say, oh no, see what happens is there's going to be some loss, there's going to be some this, some that. Listen to me, my friend, yeah. La ilaha illallah. People who take illegal goods from others, Allah has said in the Holy Quran that you are taking the fire of Jahannam inside your stomach. And this is serious. And if you want to know that, because I can't believe what people do just for a few pennies. Few pennies, it's short life, 50 years, 60 years, we're gone from here. And just for a few pennies, a few days, they're taking Jahannam's money in their bellies. And this is the Quran, Surah An-Nisa, Surah number 4, ayah number 10. What used to happen in the Prophet ﷺ's time is that some people used to take, when a father used to die, they used to rush towards the family. They used to say, oh, we feel sorry, I'm a good man, I'm a good man. I'm going to look after this family. So they say, they say to the children, I'm going to be your uncle from now on. I'm going to take care of you orphans. But the guy's got something else in his head. He's going to take the orphans, and he knows the dad who just died, he's left a good wealth, and this uncle slowly going to use that wealth to feed the orphans. Yes, that's a good thing. Yeah, he's using their own dad's money to feed them. It's good. But then he starts to divert his dad's money towards his own pocket. And a common thing happens across the world. Common thing happens. And you're doing it in the name of a good, as a good benefactor. Everyone knows he's such a nice man, he's looking after these orphans. But Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Holy Quran here, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكُلُونَ أَمْوَالَ الْيَتَامَى, those who consume the wealth of orphans, ظُلْمًا, out of oppression and without a right, إِنَّمَا يَأْكُلُونَ فِي بُطُونِهِمْ نَارًا, they are only taking in their mouths, right into the stomachs, the fire of hell. وَسَيَصْلَوْنَ سَعِيرًا, and once they've died, Allah will just cast them straight into the fire. In blazing fire. La ilaha illallah. There's a hadith, I'm going to come to what the brother has said, right? And we need to discuss this, because there's no point of discussing the few trickery that happened in Shuaib alayhi salatu's time if we can't relate it to our time. The whole point of this series is we're going to analyze it and we're going to draw the two things together. There's people who die for land. There's people who will die for the little gold and the little pieces. There's other people who die for land. And they seriously look at a piece of land and they just can't sit down until that land is there. And they make things up, like back home, Pakistan, India and so on. In fact, I want to say one thing to all you Somali brothers and so on, and others who've just come in the last 20 years to this country. Yeah, my dad came here in this country in 1959. 1959. And he passed away just recently, about 6-7 years ago. Now, when my dad came in 1959, he came with intention that this wasn't his country. He came with intention that he's going to go back and he's going to live there forever. And all the Bengali dads and all the Pakistani dads, they all came with the same mentality. And I'm telling you, Somali brothers, and whichever other country you are who recently come here for 10-20 years here, don't fall into the same mistake as my father and other fathers out there. Because what happened is, our fathers invested heavily. So my father worked really hard. Right? He didn't invest in this country. He didn't invest in a good big house here. He invested everything in Bangladesh, and he bought land after land after land after land. And it was, when he used to go over there, man, it was like the king that has just come back to his palace. The kind of royal treatment you get when you go over there. Everyone's trying to be sweet to you. They're not trying to be sweet to you, brother. They want something off you. You know what I'm saying? As long as you give it to them, they're sweet with you. When you don't give it to them, then they're not too happy with you. They're not too happy with you. But anyway, what happens is 50 years later. So he went 59, he came here. By the 60s, he was already sending a lot of money over and buying land. By the 70s, he was buying heavy land over there. Okay? Don't think I'm rich, brothers, yeah? I'm probably not going to see a penny of this, yeah? Don't think I'm rich, yeah? So what happens is, by the 70s and 80s, he's putting heavy money into this land, because land over there was cheap. You didn't need much to buy land in those days. Now it's very expensive. So he bought a lot of land, he made his house, he made everything and so on. What happens after that is, not just my dad, there are hundreds and thousands of these people. Their own sons have made their life here in Britain, in the West. This is our home, this is what we know, this is the culture we know, this is the language we know, these are the people we know. I can't live back there, I can't. The people are completely different. Their mentality is different, their culture is different, their emotions are different. If there's someone over here and I have an argument with him, I say, what's up with you? He says, what's up with you? I say, hey, and we sort it out, finished. Within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you can sort it out. Logical, we use logical, reasoning to sort it out. You go back home there, you say, what's up with you? He goes, you don't like me. That's it, come over here, you don't like us, see? You don't like us. They start emotional business. You think, hang on a minute, man, I'm telling you, you guy, you're trying to take my land over there. Because, yeah, see, you don't understand us, do you? Don't understand the feelings, do you? You don't like, see, we're poor, isn't it? That's why you want to pick on us, isn't it? He's like, hang on a minute, man, come over here. Let me talk to you. If you like me, you give me some money. He's like, come on, guy, man, wake up. Right? You can't talk to these people except in different language. So basically, I'm not going to go back and settle there, over there. But what's happened over there? I'm going to say thousands and thousands and thousands of these fathers, yeah, who invested over there have either lost it to other people, or there's cases going on because others have come in and started wanting to take it, or there's people within their own family members who they gave to them. He said, look, nephew, here, look after my land, look after my house. And their own nephew grows up and thinks, you know what, that's it, it's all mine now. I'm going to tell my uncle when he comes back, uncle, who are you? I think you should go next door. It's not your house anymore. And there's brothers who've stabbed brothers to death. There's nephews and uncles who've killed each other. There's tribes who are at war. There's court cases that are, there's judges taking monies over there and left, right, center because they know that whoever comes with the most money, they're going to give them the case. But then all I want to say to you, African, Somali brothers, even, I don't care what country you've come from here. If you've come recently in the last 20 years, please don't fall in the trap that you're going to think that your sons are going to go back there. Whatever you've got, try and spend it here. Make your life where you're going to live and your family is going to live. Unless, if you're going to live over there, that's fine. You go and live over there. I'm telling you right now, your children, if they're here and they've taken this environment in them for good 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, they're not going back. They're not going back. This is their home. Wherever you stay when you're young, you have a feeling for that. Why you like Egypt, Somalia, why you like the Arab world, why you like Bangladesh is because you had 10 to 12 years of that when you were young. That's your home. I was born here. This is my place. Yeah. So when Big Brother gets, angry with me, I say, hey, Big Brother, hey, Big Brother, this is my home. This is my home as well, It's my home as well, Big Brother. You got a little brother. I'm sorry to say he's a Muslim. I'm saying that. Anyway, so this is one thing.